right, there's a lot of talk about the customer experience. Coming to you live from NADA 24 in Las Vegas, Nevada. And we are attending a session right now specifically on the customer experience and how it benefits you.
Morning. This is going to be very interesting. All right, good afternoon. It's 2:30. We shall begin. My name is Lindsberg Petway. As you can see by the slide, I have been in automotive sales about 7 years. I'm the floor manager at Feldman Automotive Group in Detroit, Michigan. It's in the suburb of Detroit in Livonia. And prior to being an automotive specialist or product specialist, I was in education for 18 years. I started off as a teacher, coach, football coach, middle school principal, middle school assistant principal, high school principal, and then after 17 years in one focused career, things changed. It's breaking up a fight with a kid, he took a swing on me, jumped off the way, and I tore my meniscus. I played football in high school, college, I was on the practice squad in the NFL. Never injured myself. So breaking up a fight, tore my meniscus, I thought my career was over. Had a meeting with the principal, she ended up telling me that, look, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to bring you back. So for 8 months, I was unemployed. Went back to personal training, which is my roots, I'm going to work out. And I was training a young man, and he said, you should try automotive sales. I think you're doing good. Went in, had a conversation with the manager, the general manager, and they offered me a job the first day. The first month in the car industry, I sold 20 cars, not knowing anything. Because when they brought me in, sat me at a desk, walked past me. No one trained me, no one told me anything, but the educator in me said, I have to learn how to do this, because I want to be good at it. So after 7 years, I'm celebrating 7 years today, I have a team of 6 employees up under me. So my experience is a little different. I run my own quote-unquote dealership within a dealership. So up under the Feldman brand, there's my brand. And my brand was created based upon a customer-focused sales. That was the total focus, implementing social media, implementing my family and friends, and it turned into this. So, before we get started, take a look at the screen. This is just a disclaimer that these are my views, my opinions. I'm not a representative of the NADA. So if you don't see something you like, or if you see something you like, it's my fault. All right? All right. Introduction workshop. Today we're going to talk about what the world thinks about us. Most importantly, what our clients think about us. The automotive world is a very unique world. Most of our clients hate us. And I say this with all due respect based upon my interaction on the day-to-day and what we have encountered in our research. They don't hate the car. In fact, they love the car. They just hate the process of buying the car. And that process sometimes comes off as too long, too complicated, lack of transparency. These are the things that I'm going to touch on today. They love the cars, they hate the process, so we have to change the narrative around car sales because automotive sales are very important, not only to our community, but to the people that we serve. Today's agenda, we're going to look at the current state of automotive sales. We're going to try to build trust and transparency, which is so important. Next, we're going to look at the customer-focused approach versus the sales approach, which leads to the personalized customer experience. Then we're going to look at what benefits the customer-focused sales approach. How do we measure that success? Okay, let's get right into it. Let's step into the industry and look at one of the major complaints from our clients. Anybody? Think you can tell me one of the major complaints for our clients?
Salespeople are liars.
Salespeople are liars. Anybody else?
Takes too damn long.
Takes too long. One more. I think you guys read them up.
Too confusing by design.
Wow. I must be on point. Because these are all the points that I'm going to talk about today. All right? Another thing, the most important thing, was the high pressure sales tactics. These are usually the top of the complaint list. Why? Because they feel that they didn't make this decision on their own. Let me ask you a question. If you were purchasing something and you were close to do it and you end up walking away with a pair of shoes which you really didn't like, then when you go to the closet to wear them, how would you feel? Not good, because you didn't make that decision. That decision was made for you. And I get it. There's closers. I have closers in my dealership. There's only one Brad Cardone. And he got there a certain way. Okay? So, the next thing we're going to look at is the lack of transparency. They feel that we are the gatekeepers of the information, which we are. We understand what the interest rate is. We understand how many approvals we have. We understand how many points we're going to put into the deal. We know all those things. And they feel that we are keeping that information for them. And to be honest, we are. Because sometimes when you have a customer who is not as experienced in the car buying process, it can be more profitable. And that's the unfortunate piece of it. Next, we're going to talk about the inconsistent customer experiences. From dealership to dealership, or even within a dealership, person to person, that experience of buying a car can be challenging. What it looks like to me, it might not look like to you. How do we change that? We have to first change the mindset. All right, let's look at the negative perception. We talked about the high pressure sales tactics. We talked about us holding back information, which creates distrust. When you're confused in a customer, it makes the process longer. When they're sitting there, they're confused. They don't know what is coming next. So we have to build an ambiance in which there's trust and transparency. As car sales professionals, we have all the information, which is why when we withhold that information from an inexperienced buyer, it creates that distrust. Next, a confused customer can be more profitable. That's what people say, because confused people buy things they don't need, and sometimes sign for things they don't understand. Next, the fact that we can maintain some level of inconsistency from dealer to dealer has our clients believing that there is no standard of professionalism within our organization. All right? All right. Customer-focused approach. Let's change the mindset. What did Gandhi say? Be the change you want to see. So I have to be the change, you have to be the change, and that's how we change this narrative. What is the customer-focused approach? This means that when that customer walks in, the complete process is focused on the customer, not on the sale. And I get it. Being a salesperson in the Detroit area, you got 3 inches of snow outside, you just got to clean cars, you haven't made a sale in 2 days, you want to move a unit. But you have to focus. You have to focus on the customer, all right? Putting every single every single detailed attention to finding out what that customer needs. They should be the center of every interaction and everything that you do within that particular time that they're sitting in front of you. Next, the approach must move from salesperson from opponent to teammate. When a person walks into the dealership, they walk in with their guard up. When they sit down, you have customers that sit in front of you with their arms folded, like this young man right here. They're very definitive. They know, because we have some educated customers now. Some of them don't know based upon what someone else has told them, but they think they know. So when they sit out in front of us, we like to call this the de-icing period, or we call them up. We get to know what's going on, because if you listen, if they're not your customer, they will let you know what they experienced at the last dealership. And those are the key points in which you can capitalize. The how. How do we change this particular mindset? Good question. It's not really difficult, but the hardest part is changing the mindset. Once we change the mindset from being a survivalist and moving a unit to focusing on that customer, then we can have the success that we can have. All right. Fully understand and empathize with your customers' pain points. We talked about the pain points: high pressure, lack of transparency, complicating the sales process. Empathize with them. Understand that they might come in guarded. So fully embrace what that means. And don't get mad with the customer when they're feeling guarded. Do your due diligence to warm them up, to listen to them, to make sure that they understand that you're trying to build a relationship. We understand it's a transaction, but we want to move from one transaction to a long-term relationship. Next, we want to tailor your sales approach to a personalized experience. This wasn't challenging for me, being a teacher. I taught K-12. So one class I had a 5th grader, the next class I had a 7th grader, then I had a 12th grader. So understanding different dynamics. Then when I became a principal, I had to lead the building as well as the children. So when you take the time to step into that client that is sitting in front of you, what's going on with them, and personalize it, it creates a relationship. We want to move from transactions to relationships. We want them to be not short-term relationships, but in addition to, let's say I do. I like to marry my customers, if I use that analogy. I have one wife. I like to marry my customers, all right? When you do that relationship type of transaction, it leads to you having a higher retention of clients. Now, I'm kind of jumping around because on the flight here, I got 2 calls from customers calling me because they need oil changes. I have a fairly large book of business, but within that book of business, I still communicate with my customers. When I landed, I scheduled those oil changes for them. Could I have someone else do it? Of course. But I built that relationship. 7 years in, and this particular customer has purchased 4 cars from me. The same person, because I was able to get in and out of leases without bearing relationship. Next, we want to prioritize the customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction, a lot of businesses promote it. I'm very blessed at the Feldman Automotive Group where that's one of our pillars. CSI is very important to us. We will make sure that a customer is satisfied because we understand the value of loyalty. With that being said, sometimes people go through the motions because of trying to reach a CSI index rather than creating that relationship. But make that your #1 goal, is to make sure that customer is satisfied. Because when you do that, they're going to refer you to their friend, to their loved one, and they're going to come back. Next, empathize with transparency and trust with every interaction. This means to be fair and just. Okay, fair and just at all times. You want to clearly work with that person who's inexperienced, just as you're working with a person who's purchased their 6th car from you. They should understand the process from top to bottom. Very simple. Very simple process. I like to start my process prior to the customer coming in. So send me a picture of your license front and back. current insurance and email address. I'll send you a link. Once you fill out the link, it's going to go straight to our database. What colors are you interested in? Gather all this information up front. Once I gather all that information, I'm going to pour you credit. Once we pour you credit, how much are you want to put down? I want to put any money down. That's fine. I just want to know so I can tell the bank how we want to structure a loan. So by the time they come in and sit in the chair, they know the numbers, they're familiar with the vehicle, they test drive the vehicle, and they're in and out of the dealership. My goal is always 60 minutes. 60 minutes. Once you hit 2 hours, you hit to that customer dissatisfaction. One of my sales members today sent me a video, because we do a lot of things on social media. He has come in and out of the dealership in 38 minutes and 52 seconds, start to finish. Now, when that person goes back, what are they going to say? Somebody might be complaining. Every time I go to the dealership, it's too long, it's too long. My guy got me in 38 minutes. Give him a call. All right? The benefits of customer-focused sales. As you can see, you enhance your customer loyalty. You get the word-of-mouth referrals. You increase your sales and revenue. Customer-focused salespeople often have a higher customer retention. I'm a living example of that. 85% of my business comes from repeats and referrals. About 10% comes from social media, and 5% comes from my dealership as leads. Because we know sometimes leads can be chasing yourself around the dealership. Benefit of leads, they're new opportunities. You treat those new opportunities just as you would to customers who purchase 3 to 4 cars. Happy customers become your advocates. They become your marketers. If you have a friend, and that friend has a skill set, you're listening to someone, and you know your friend can benefit from that skill set, would you suggest your friend? Most definitely. And when you suggest your friend, you're doing that with confidence. No, we'll see Lindsay. We'll see Mike. He'll take care of it. Well, I heard such and such about that dealership. He's different. Well, how do you know? I purchased 2 cars from him. Be different. They will become your advocates. I have customers who only buy from me. One of the sales associates in the dealership just retired after 30 years, Joe Copeland, and his customers only deal with him. Since he's retired, he comes in 2 to 3 days a week, he only sells them. He's built that customer-focused relationship. Okay? Satisfied customers are more likely to repeat purchase and consider other options. The other options are your factory warranties, your tire and wheel, your gap, all of those things that don't seem valuable to the customer when you first sit down with them. But after you communicate and you build that relationship, those things have value because you share why they have it. You share that your wife has tire and wheel. You share that your mother-in-law has the premium package. So when she calls me, something's wrong with the vehicle, all I have to say is bring it up, Mom, and tow it, so I can still go to Thanksgiving and have a $100 deductible rather than having to pay for the whole repair. But when you build that relationship, they'll listen. Some more of the benefits. You improve your reputation. You reduce dependency on the dealer leads, and you have a better employee satisfaction. Remember what I said in the beginning. The service and treatment varies from dealer to dealer, and especially within that dealership. So when you have the customer-focused sales traction, you set yourself apart. You set yourself apart so at that point you will continue to have customers while your colleagues may be picking up the phone, calling 30, 40, 50 people a day, trying to get them to answer a lead. Word of mouth referrals and positive reviews remove the dependency on dealer leads. Now, this is like the 3rd time I mentioned dealer leads. Dealer leads are very important, and we have to have them. But in a market in which people are paying more for the same item, paying more for the same car that they leased 3 years ago based upon the economic structure, there has to be some type of relationship. Because 2020, 2021, we didn't have cars. So if you had a car, you had a client. Now, everyone has cars, and I'm speaking within the Metro Detroit area. Now, how are you going to separate yourself so you can continue to build your book of business? And lastly, we could agree that this industry is challenging. There's different levels to it. As a sales professional, it can be challenging when you're starting. We have a turnover rate within our dealership. It has ceased over the last 3 years because we built these teams. We built a system in which we can teach people these particular skill sets so they can build their book of business. Next, building trust and transparency, some of the misconceptions of the industry. Car salespeople are rated as some of the least trusted professionals in America. And I say that with all due respect because I'm one of the car salespeople. I do social media, and I can tell you that my life has been threatened several times on TikTok, just being a car salesman. I did a reel in which I just said after 4.5 hours in the dealership, the customer decides to say they want to think about it. That's it, 8 seconds. Got 1.7 million views and a whole community of people giving their opinion on why it happened. That were dealerships, that you're probably a thief. That's why I don't pay for cars. It took a whole nother turn. I was at a church service, and a pastor that I respected was teaching us when I first got into business. He was trying to make a point. And his point was, I really don't know, but he said, that's like being a car salesman. Who wants to be a car salesman? And I was very offended by this thing because I knew God. I'm a very honest person, but his point was saying that car salespeople are crooks, that we hide things, and that we are sleazy salespeople. So these are the things in which some people still believe, and we want to destroy these concepts. All right, so the current sales culture promotes a lack of transparency. I say this with all due respect. When I first started doing deals, I was getting pencils and you were supposed to close. Have to have a conversation with that person. That person couldn't make that payment, but I was supposed to close them. Now, I'm looking at myself in the mirror. Do I close them or do I build a relationship? Because I want this person to come back to me. I'm new at this. I don't have time to chase cars in the parking lot. At the time, I'm 51, now I'm 52. I had a career already. Thought I'd be a superintendent of a district or something. I don't have time to do that. So, do I close or build a relationship? I build a relationship. I'm the advocate. Sometimes you have to be the advocate between the customer and the manager. We know that role when we go back and forth, we get the pressure from the manager. I got this approval, but I got this one. Closing on this one. This is going to happen. Man, that sounds good. But I know this person can't. And if I put them in that position, they won't be able to come back to me. And in 2 months, 3 months, as they're making those payments, they'll get frustrated with me. So transparency is one of the major keys in this industry to make the change. Building these pillars in automotive sales. Trust is the cornerstone in any type of consumer relationship. We have to start with trust. And unfortunately, again, this is my opinion based upon what I've seen, we're starting at a desk. So how do we change that? We have to build a foundation within the customer relationship. That's why it's not enough just to cover the basics, but you have to show the person as you're working with you, these are the incentives you qualify for. This is your rebate. This is how much we gave you for the trade. These are the numbers. You build that relationship and that trust because when they get done with you, they have to go see the F&I manager. That's a whole nother hurdle that they have to cross. But if they feel confident enough with you and what you're telling them, then that trust can be transferred to the next person. Next, because salespeople are the customer's face, we are the customer's face, so we hold the responsibility to change this narrative. It starts with us, it ends with us. The GM can implement the mindset, but it's up to us as salespeople on a day-to-day basis to have the communication with the particular clients. Positive narrative shift. Car salespeople have the best interests at heart. We have to have the customer's best interests at heart. We want to make this shift, and once we make this shift, it leads to the next portion, which is building the trust. How do we earn the customer's trust? Transparency and pricing. A couple years ago, we had addendums on every car around the dealership because we only had 50 cars. There wasn't a lot of inventory, so we had the ability to mark it up. Those days are kind of shifting away, so we have to be transparent with our pricing. Explain to the customer everything that they have qualified for. When people come to me and say, well, I need your help. I heard you're a car salesman. I said, I don't sell cars. I assist you with your purchase. I'm like a point guard, bringing the ball up the court, dishing it to you because you already know what you want. I'm just here to assist you. I don't sell anything. When you go down and sit with the finance manager, he will give you some options to look at. He's not selling you anything. He's giving you the best options to cover your investment. Okay? Transparency in the buying process. I talked about that earlier. I let my clients know, especially a new client that's referred to me. This is what I need. This is what we're going to do. This is the next step. One of the main things that I always do is overpromise and underdeliver. Overpromise and underdeliver. Just trying to see if you're listening to me.
We saw what you did there.
But I always underpromise and overdeliver. If the car is going to be ready today, I'll tell them, I think I can have it by Friday. If the car is going to be ready Monday, probably by Wednesday. I want to make sure that everything's set so when you walk in the dealership, you can sit down, chit chat with me, and you can go straight to the finance manager's side. That makes a difference because when you're sitting in the dealership too long, and the little meme that I did was because we had to go through some different scenarios with subprime credit. We all know how subprime can be challenging sometimes. And that was the purpose of it. It was just a little joke, but it created a whole other community. Next, be clear, direct in your communication. Tell a person what you're going to do so they understand what you're going to do. Don't deviate from what you're going to do. If you need to make some changes, let the person know what changes you're going to make. These sound so simple, but every day in my dealership, I see some people who don't do it. And then the customer comes up, they're frustrated because you simply didn't pick up the phone and let them know something very simple. Okay? Be knowledgeable about the process, the products, and all the offerings, the service offerings. Knowledgeable about the product process of the product. On our card, it's a Film Chevrolet, they say we're product specialists. Product specialists. That means you know what that product is, and you have the ability to explain it in a way in which a client who's very technology based or an elderly lady, you have to be able to make that customer feel good once they sit down in that car after making that purchase. Next, do more than what is expected. You have to do more. That's one of my things. If my wife is here, sometimes I do too much in her opinion. Every time you buy a car, you get a thank you card. After the thank you card, I send you a birthday card. After the birthday card, everyone in my book of business gets a Christmas card. Christmas card with me and my family saying happy holidays from the place. And what happens is when they come in and get an oil change afterwards, I got your car. Oh man, his sons are growing. Me and my wife just purchased a house. And my loan officer, Tim, great young man, he was solid. He had a good professional relationship. This Christmas, he sent me a Christmas card. I looked at it, wow. And And when I looked at it, I saw his wife, his two daughters, and I felt what I did. I said, okay, this builds that different level of a relationship. Okay? And when the person comes back, they talk about the pictures, they talk about your kids, they talk about how you grown, and it creates that relationship rather than transaction. All right. Personalize the customer's experience. Connect with your customers. When customers sit down with you, if there's something that they told you from the last deal, try to remember it. If a customer is sitting down with you for the first time, listen, ask them questions. They will tell you what happened at the other dealership and why they're sitting in front of you, and you use that information to capitalize. Also, the relationship that you build has to come from a perspective of using empathy. Empathy is one of the most important things in building relationships. They offer general solutions to your problems. Listen to them. If a person has a complaint about insurance, about this, about that, give them some suggestions. Everything that they need, you be there for them. When I landed, I got a call from a customer, brand new Chevrolet Blazer. She called me because she got a crack in the windshield. I don't know what to do. Call Safeway. Her trust in calling me for a crack was because of the relationship. That was the second purchase from her. Okay? Now, she could have just Googled it or called someone else, but I overcompensate by saying, if you have anything to deal with your car, call me. Anything, car accident, call me. Because I want to be that person's car guy. Now, as my book of business is getting larger, sometimes it can be a lot of calls, and I just divert those calls to my sales team. But the people on my sales team, I have a relationship with. I have 6 people, 4 are carbon copies of myself. They were handpicked, trained. 27, 38, the other one is 55. Different age groups that can target different clients, handle clients differently. All right? Let's be focusing on the consistency in the treatment and the service. The next 10 people that you see, if you want to try this out, treat them the same way. Be consistent and see what happens. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some time to change your mindset. But if you're consistent with this, I guarantee you, I can't guarantee a lot of things, but I guarantee if you treat a person right, they're going to remember that. They're going to come back and see you. And if you treat a person really good, they're going to tell someone about you. Okay? Actually use the dealership to provide data to improve. We want to prioritize our customers, our loyalty, and use the data to improve. How do we use the data? We look at our closing percentage. We look at how many people are coming back to us 2-year, 3-year leases. Like I said, my business is about 80-85% returns and repeats. Now that creates a busy day for myself, but that's what you want as a salesperson when you walk in, when you walk in the dealership. And that's what you want as managers. You want your salespeople moving units. Okay? Now, let's look at this from the dealership perspective. As a dealership, how can you personalize this particular perspective for your clients? Number 1, invest in training programs for your sales professionals. Show them that you're investing in their development as well. Like I stated in the beginning, when I first got hired, there was no training program. I had an old school GM, just threw me in the fire. For what I'm hearing, other dealerships have training programs. That's good. You have to be able to show your particular salespeople, give them the things that they need so they can be successful. Next, use data-driven insights to tailor offerings and interactions with your customers. This means using the information that you have on your customers from your database to create specific things that they need. One of the most irritating clients that I get is when we send them a mail, we tell them that the trade-in is worth $25,000. They come in, we do their evaluation, the trade-in is worth $12,000, but they say, you send me this piece of paper and now you're wasting my time. If I know that customer is a purchaser and they have the car for 4 years, how about sending them a percentage off coupon for their upcoming maintenance of their vehicle? I never thought about getting that in my car. The only reason I came here is because I received this mail. Okay, so use the information that we have to target our loyal customers. Empower your team to make decisions and resolve issues that benefit the customers. The salespeople shouldn't have to run up to the manager for everything when it comes to satisfying a customer. That customer has been with you 2 to 3 sales, then we need to take care of that customer because they are loyal to us. That's very important in this industry. Diligent leadership should set the tone by leading by example. We should, as leaders, make sure that our employees understand that we not only care about them, but they matter to us as well. Yes, utilize some of the underutilized strategies to create a customer-focused environment. Customer education process is so important. Customer education has been one of the milestones in which I've been able to build my successful business. Educating the customer comes easy being a former educator. They have a lot of questions. When they ask the questions, one of my pet peeves is with my sons and with people saying, I don't know. I never like to tell the customer I don't know. If I don't know something genuinely, let me find out. I'm not quite sure about that. I'll get back with you. Give me a minute. By the time you come out of the finance office, I should have that information. If not, let me give you a call back. Make sure that you understand the process and you understand what the customer needs. Next, post-sale support and follow-up. This is where so many people drop the ball. Follow-up, follow-up, follow-up. Make sure that customer understands that you need them and you understand that their money is more important to them than to you. How do you do that? Birthday cards, birthday calls, birthday cards, Christmas cards, checking on them, not just the typical 3-month, 6-month, 9-month lease is due, but you have to do those as well, all right? Maintain consistency among all the touch points in the dealership. That is the service department, that's the parts department, that's the body shop. The salesperson should be the liaison. That's why my customers call me for oil changes. I can't physically do the oil change. I can't write it up. But they call me and I can walk them through and make sure that they get what they need. I can't get the part from the back, but I'll go back and talk to people. I got a client who wants to order these and that. And when you do that, they buy into the dealership. When they buy into the dealership, it's not just automotive sales, it's the oil changes, it's the tune-ups, it's if they have an accident. That money stays. That client stays indoors in your dealership with all aspects until they buy another car, and then they stay indoors in all aspects. Next, reward long-term clients. If we have a client that's been with you for 3 to 4 leases, there should be some type of reward. There should be something to make sure that that customer feels valued. And in the metropolitan Detroit area, within 7 miles, there's at least 6 Chevrolet dealerships. So a person can go here, 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 here. Why are you going to keep coming back to me? Chevrolet up the street, they have dealers, they have cars, they have a bigger lot, they have more commercials. Why are you going to keep coming to me? You have to reward the loyalty. Okay? And I talked about acting as a liaison with all the phone calls that I received since yesterday. Before I came in, a customer called and said they tried to get me service. You got to leave the car. You know, I can't give you a loaner, but you got to leave the car. It becomes sometimes, like I said, overwhelming, but the clients, when they trust you, they're going to call you. Leverage social media to connect with your potential clients. Social media is a big-time business. There's about 4.8 billion people on social media. So you have to get a piece of that. Social media is the reason why I'm standing here. Social media has created A platform for me with over 60,000 followers on TikTok and Instagram about 25,000. Okay, so that social media piece is very, very necessary in this particular 2024, 2025, and in the future. You have to be doing something with social media. And if you don't know what to do, you hire a brand specialist. Let that expert lead you so you can hit the targets of what you want to hit. My social media has been consistent from day one. Now it has matured, it has gotten better, but I always kept a presence on social media, and that's very important. Find a niche, specialize in. There's a guy who is in the Dearborn, Michigan area. He calls himself the Silverado King. He has carved a niche within the Hispanic community. He's Hispanic and he's doing quite well for himself. He capitalized on that particular market. If you have a specialty, then you capitalize on that specialty. Okay? Let's talk about be innovative. Do not become dependent on the dealership leads. Talk about that again. I do a lot of sponsorships, football teams, basketball teams, radio, television. I've done a lot to put myself out there, okay? I'm standing here because of the consistency of branding yourself. That is so important. When I sat down with the general manager back in 2017, he told me, imagine having your own business. We provide the inventory, the desks, the lights, and the Wi-Fi. Everything else is up to you. And it clicked. Some people think of it as a job. This isn't a job. I have a business. I have a brand. If I'm selling you a car, something goes wrong, you're not mad at film. You're upset with Lynchburg because I'm the one that interacted with you. Most people don't look at it as that. This is my business. Because it's my business, I handle it as such. Okay? Video walkthroughs. People like to buy things on Amazon. I have boxes at my house daily. They like to buy things that they see, things that they can click. So when you have a client, give them a little more. They might not even ask for it. You know what the major points to that vehicle: heated steering wheel, wireless charger, heated seats, Apple CarPlay. Those little things that are going to make the difference, so that person says, wow, yeah, I want that. How do you measure your success? You track your referrals. Within my dealership, I have a campaign button in our CRM. So everyone that comes in, I can track them. If you don't have that option, create a Google spreadsheet so you can track everyone that's coming into you. And when they grow, then you can have a conversation with your dealership, with your general manager, if they will invest in what you're doing. Because as you bring a business in, I'm sure they'll invest in you. Measure your response time when customers are inquiring on the leads. Let's make sure that you pick up their phone and you call them quickly and make sure that you're able to close that deal within a short period of time. Managing your customer retention rates. That 3 years, 2 years. How many times is that person coming back to see you? All right? If you stay connected with them, they'll stay connected with you. Evaluate your average transaction value. That is basically your closing percentage. Closing percentage is very important to my dealership. We have to have a minimum of 25% closing percentage. There's different goals that the dealership has to hit, so individually we hold our salespeople accountable. So we make sure that when they have an opportunity, that they are focused on that opportunity. And when you're bringing in your own opportunities, your closing percentage is going to be 50, 60, 70, 80%, and helps the whole store. Do not dismiss negative customer reviews. Dealer rating. Everybody know the dealer rating? Dealer rating. So in my dealership, I'm one of the top salespeople that are on dealer rating. Okay, I utilize it very well. I make sure my clients understand what it is. But a 5-star rating with 3 words, Lynchburg is great, is good. But a 2-star rating explaining how that experience can be better, more beneficial. So you can learn how to become the best product specialist, salesperson, or assist-lead in your dealership. Questions, comments, concerns? Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Speed of processing the deal.
Speed of processing the deal. Yes, good question. If I have a new client on that initial interview over the phone, I build a relationship and I kind of explain to them what I'm going to do. So, you're looking for whatever car you're looking for. This is what I need from you. Picture of the license front and back, copy of the insurance, copy of the registration. Then I send them a link, they fill it out, they get the credit, they tell me what they're looking for, so we have the approval prior to them getting there. Especially when it's on a new car, at that time, they're just coming in and test driving because what they ask for exactly is sitting up right by the door. Yes. So once they get there, manager has the deal, they're still loading it up. As they're doing that, the customer comes outside with me, we go over the OnStar process. Okay? OnStar has shortened their process up to maybe 5 to 7 minutes. Yeah, it's gotten better. Then the walk around, and then after they sign the paperwork, they're feeling a little, just sign all these papers, and you bring them back in the car, you sit down with them, and go over any other questions. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
So you're in Detroit Metro. What percentage of your deals are land deals, and then how do you address the trading value?
What percentage of
What of your deals are manufactured land deals?
Oh, maybe 75%. 75 to 80% are GM employee or supplier. The market on the used car value has changed, but we try to keep a minimum of slightly $2,200 to $2,500 in the used deal. And if we have to over-allow because we have to make that set fee to move a deal, then we do so. Yes, sir.
What percentage of your customers go through your digital retailing tool? And of those, what percentage use it completely?
Good question. Most of our clients are hands-on. So I'll say maybe 45% start the process, but then when it comes to the finishing the process, a lot of our salespeople aren't as savvy, so they jump in and take over. Did I answer?
Good answer too. I liked it.
Any other questions? Well, I'd like to thank you for coming out. It was a great experience for me. Hopefully, I said something about your faculty. You have a great rest of the show.
Hard. Sorry.
That was a good session.
It was good.
This guy is not only polished, but he delivers the messaging. And I have no doubt that had I been his prospect, I would be buying a car from that guy. So everybody has little twists on what they do, but the basics remain the same. You always hear, let's go back to basics. I say, let's stay at basics. There's a lot of great information that he covered. Take it to heart. All right, I don't think there's going to be any more sessions this afternoon, but we'll be coming back to you live tomorrow from the convention floor and perhaps some educational sessions. So don't miss out. Look for the notifications.